Hello and welcome to episode 70 of Glitch Report. My name is GnittWitt. Thank you so much for stopping by, saying hi, kicking it with me today on the stream of dreams, the show of shows, and everything in between. Thank you so much for watching this on YouTube and for listening to the audio version of the show, wherever you get the audio version of the show. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, maybe you get like the CD subscription that I have been selling. We will send discs to your house. Fuck Netflix and their DVD subscription business. I'm sending fucking blank CDs with an hour-ish long podcast to your very show, to your very house, I should say. Anyways, thank you for joining me on the show today. Coming up, we got more game studio layoffs. We will cover that. Some new information about the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I have finished a brand new video game, Trepang 2, and I'm very excited to talk about that. We'll talk about that as well. Plus some Modern Warfare 3 news. Well, what we're about to talk about in regards to Modern Warfare 3 should not surprise you. Some Unity news, 505 Games, Embracer Group. Like I mentioned, layoffs, so we'll talk Embracer Group. And then we also have some Baldur's Gate 3 news. But speaking of Baldur's Gate 3, the Game Awards nominees are out for all categories. And I thought we might kick off this show kind of predicting the winners. These are not now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through most of the categories. So if you want to get out your like bingo blopper thing, the whatever the blooter, the blooter blops, whatever you call those things, I'm not old enough to go to bingo halls because I haven't turned 30 yet. But we're gonna do so. Yeah, get out your bingo cards, whatever you want to do, and let's predict right here, right now, as I adjust this camera, right here, right now. The Game Award nominees and the winners. So we're going to skip over best esports event, best esports coach, best esports team, best esports athlete, best esports game, and content creator of the year because who fucking cares? And when it comes to content creator of the year, your boy GnittWitt has been snubbed yet again. So fuck it. That's what I say. So let's kick things off with the awards. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 game nomination categories to go through. So again, these are my predictions for the Game Awards. I'm not saying this is what I would pick. This is me predicting who will win. And let's kick things off with most anticipated game. The nominees are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That is the second game in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. Now, they're not saying that all these games are going to come out in 2024, though it seems like a lot of them are poised to do that. Now, I should also mention that if you want to go and vote, you can go to thegameawards.com and you can vote if you want. I believe you can also do voting in Fortnite. You can like hang out with Fortnite Jeff Keighley and vote that way for some categories. But anyways, most anticipated game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. And I am predicting right here, right now, most anticipated game. Maybe I should like keep track of this somewhere. Maybe I'll open up a new Google Doc. Hold on, please hold. Please hold. I'm like trying to, because if I'm wrong, you know, you can clown on me, right? Game Awards 2023, you can be like, oh, that GnittWitt, he doesn't know shit about shit, he can't predict anything to save his life. All right, so most anticipated game, I'm going to predict that Hades 2 wins most anticipated game. That is my prediction. Hades 2 most anticipated game winner. Okay, now I see how this website is laid out. All right, best adaptation. This is for movies and TV adaptations of games. Our nominees are Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, The Last of Us, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Twisted Metal. Of course, Castlevania Nocturne being the Netflix animated TV show. Super Brothers movie, they're not talking about the 1990s movie. They're talking about the 2023 ass movie. And I gotta say, when it comes to best adaptation, I'm going to predict that The Last of Us is going to win that award. Best adaptation, I'm predicting The Last of Us. Strap in, because we're going to do all these damn categories except for the ones I already mentioned. Best multiplayer, sponsored by Discord. This is for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and co-op. Your nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I'm going to give best multiplayer to Street Fighter 6, a game that is probably best played with other people, preferably with friends, you know, hanging out at the crib, hanging out at home and stuff like that. But just with that said, I'm going to give best multiplayer to Street Fighter 6. This is a weird fucking category because some of these games are sports games. Some of these games are not sports games. Best sports/racing game. This is for best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games. Best sports/racing game. Your nominees are EA Sports Football Club 24, F1 23, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, and The Crew Motorfest, which I just think it's hilarious that they would nominate such a turd for best sports racing game. Gosh, Hot Wheels is not like Hot Wheels is a racing game, but it's fucking not a sports game. And The Crew Motorfest is not a sports game. There's 3 sports games in this category. 4 of these games are racing games. Fuck, dude. I mean, this category doesn't make any sense. Hot Wheels shouldn't be on this list. But whatever, they put sport/racing together, so here we are. Best sport/racing game, I'm going to give it to F1 23. That is my prediction. F1 23 wins best sports/racing. Now we have best sim/strategy game. The best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay. So again, they've put 2 fucking genres that have nothing to do with each other together, and we're left with a nominee list that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, Cities Skylines 2, Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4. Which, I mean, Pikmin 4 is not really City Skylines. Isn't I'm gonna give it to Advance Wars. I don't know. I feel completely out of my league with this category. I'm gonna give it to Advance Wars. My prediction: best sim/strategy game going to Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. Best family game. Best family game. For the best game appropriate for family play, we have Disney Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. If you hate your family, sit around and play Sonic Superstars. I mean, Disney Illusion Island looks cool. Party Animals seems to have kind of came and went. I'll give it to Super Mario. I'll give it to Super Mario, even though I think from everything I've seen in that game, the multiplayer is maybe a little half-baked. Like, it seems like that's a family game that you're better off just like playing by yourself. Best fighting game. In the best fighting game category, we have a rhythm game. We have a rhythm game. We don't have a fighting game. We have a rhythm game. The best fighting game nominees are God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery and Street Fighter 6. I think if Street Fighter 6 wins, best multiplayer, it'll probably win best fighting game. So I'm going to give it to Street Fighter 6 for best fighting game. Again, these are my predictions for who's going to win, not who I want to win. Almost lost my voice there for a moment. Best RPG. Again, another category that doesn't make any fucking sense. Does not make a goddamn lick of sense whatsoever. And let me explain why. Your nominees for Best RPG are Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. 2 of those games on that list are actual RPGs. Two of those games are RPGs. The rest are not RPGs. Starfield is a first-person shooter where you can level shit. It's not really an RPG. Sorry, I know you can make a character, and I know you can have dialogue trees and choose your own whatever, and you can level up shit. Starfield is a first-person shooter. Lies of P is an action-adventure game. Final Fantasy is also an action-adventure game. Now, I believe in my heart of hearts that Final Fantasy still stays true to what we've come to expect from Final Fantasy, but there isn't a lot of RPG in Final Fantasy. You know, again, the problem is that games have RPG elements in almost every genre, right? When they were marketing Forza Motorsport, they called it a car PG because you can level up your car with experience points, and then you can invest in better upgrades and you know, parts for your car. But when I think about what an actual RPG is, with character customization and assuming a role, really the most faithful RPG on this list is Baldur's Gate 3. It isn't even close. It isn't even close in terms of what we've come to, you know, what we know of RPGs to be. So with that said, when it comes to Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield, my prediction for best RPG, without a doubt, going to Baldur's Gate 3. Best action/adventure. See, this is what I mean. Lies of P should probably be on this list. Well, I don't know if Lies of P is good enough to be on this list because of the games that are mentioned, but best action/adventure. And they say for the best action/adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. Okay, your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, when I look at this list, the 2 games that really speak to me in terms of my predictions would probably be either The Legend of Zelda or Alan Wake 2. I think when I think about the people that typically vote in this and the type of games that they like, I think Alan Wake 2 is a shoe. And I do think, see, like the odd game out in this list. See, the thing for me is if forget the genre part where the genre like nominee categories don't make any fucking sense. When I look at this list, the odd game out is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor has no fucking hope, no chance in winning. I think after that, Resident Evil 4 is going to have a tough time winning. So really it comes down to Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for me in terms of games that I would most likely predict to win. And I'm going to bet on Remedy. I'm going to bet on Remedy, and perhaps foolishly so. I don't know. We'll find out. But I'm going to predict that Alan Wake 2 wins Best Action Adventure Game. Now we have Best Action Game. What's the difference between action-adventure game? Well, if you look at some of the games on this list, I would actually state that some of the games in Best Action Game are actually action-adventure games. The nominees for best action game. Oh, so I should maybe clarify. This is what they say an action game is. For the best game of the action genre, focused primarily on combat. Okay. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. Armored Core, Dead Island, Ghost Runner, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. I'm going to say, again, Dead Island 2 is an action-adventure game, and Remnant 2 is an action-adventure game. Because there are puzzles, there is exploration, there is traversal. But fuck it, what do I know about video games? I'm going to say best action game is going to go to Hi-Fi Rush. That's my prediction. I think their blend of action and music and rhythm is going to speak to a lot of people who vote on this. And my prediction is that Hi-Fi Rush wins best action game. We're getting through this relatively quickly. Thank you for joining me for this. Oh, fuck. Best VR/AR game. For the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. Your nominees are Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR mode, and Synapse. People swear by Gran Turismo 7. People seem to absolutely swear by Gran Turismo 7 as a VR experience, and I'm going to predict that Gran Turismo 7 wins best VR/AR experience. Best mobile game. These are not games that you can exclusively play on your phone, but these are games that are best experienced on a mobile device. Your nominees are Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Honkai Star Rail, Monster Hunter Now, and Terra Nil. And I don't even need to think about it. I'm going to say right here, right now, that Honkai Star Rail, which people seem to fucking, like, they're drug addict. It's like drugs. Honkai, I've had Honkai Star Rail be compared to being addicted to drugs, and if it's even half of that is true, I'm going to predict that Honkai Star Rail wins best mobile. Best debut indie. So this is best debut indie game. This is for the best debut game created by a new independent studio. Now we could argue, what is an indie game? Is indie game more of a style, or is indie game actually a game made by an independent group of people with a small amount of development funds and team size? But who knows? Your nominees for best debut indie game are Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. And I'm going to be honest with you, the only game on this list I played was Cocoon. I played a little bit of Cocoon last night, and it was not doing anything for me. Of the games that I've heard the most positive on, I mean, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder all seem like pretty good games to have on this list. Pizza Tower is a fucking trip. Venba seems like a game, you know, about the love of food. Viewfinder is a trippy puzzle game. And Dredge combines fishing with a horror game. And I really should play all of these games. I really should play Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. I'm going to give it to Viewfinder. I bet I have a feeling that people are really going to connect with that kind of first person puzzle, take the photo and then turn the photo into, you know, kind of reality type thing that Viewfinder has going on. So my prediction for best debut indie game, I'll give it to Viewfinder as my prediction. Now we have best independent game. For outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. Your nominees are Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think Dave the Diver is going to win it, but I don't think that Dave the Diver is an indie game. For one, it is published by a big company. It is made by a small studio, but it was put out by a very large company. That company, I believe, is Nexon. I believe Dave the Diver is put out by Nexon. Nexon's a fucking huge company. That being said, people seem to fucking love Dave the Diver, man. Love Dave the Diver. And Dave the Diver, you are a diver who like catches fish, and then you can cook that fish and do all sorts of shit with that fish. And there's a story and there's characters, and it seems like a pretty good time. But again, for the record, I don't think that Dave the Diver is an indie game in any sense of the word. But I will predict that Dave the Diver wins best independent game. This is a weird one. This is a weird list as well. I mean, I get what they're going for, but I just don't think the name of it makes a lot of sense. So the nominees for Best Community Support. Best Community Support means recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates / patches. So basically a game that has received a lot of work over the years and continues to be supported by the developer. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Your nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky. My prediction for best community support is going to be for Cyberpunk 2077. I really think that they've turned that game around, and it wouldn't be the game it is today if it wasn't for that support, if it wasn't for CD Projekt Red listening to the community. That being said, Baldur's Gate 3 was in early access for a really long time, and it was made better through its early access development by the community, and listening to that community feedback. The game there's a game that has no fucking business being on this list. It is a game made by a company that refuses to listen to its the game is made by a company that refuses to listen to its community, could not give less of a shit about its community, and is in a real fucking rough place. And I truly believe that Destiny 2 has no business being on this best community support nominee list. That being said, I believe that best community support will be won by Cyberpunk 2077. And again, another weird category. Again, I get what they're going for, but I feel like you could combine this category and best community support. Your nominees for Best Ongoing Game, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Your nominees are Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. So again, kind of another way of saying, here's a game that's been around for a long time. And I'm going to say, of that list, I'm going to predict that Final Fantasy 14 wins best going. I think the expansion packs that they've added for Final Fantasy 14 over the years have been really impressive. It's really been able to attract a lot of new players, maintain a lot of old players as well. And I think that there might be something to Final Fantasy 14 winning best ongoing. Now we have Games for Impact, which is a thought-provoking game with pro-social meaning or message. So kind of a feel-good, kind of make you feel good about life and wherever you're at in life and whatever's going on. And the nominees for Games for Impact are A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Sennar, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia, Terra Nil, and Venba. And really, when I think about kind of the story of Venba, of, immigrant folks in Canada, I believe it's immigrant folks moving. I need to play Venba. I believe it's on Game Pass. I should quit fucking around and play Venba. But when it's a game about, immigrant folks moving to Canada, sharing their love of food with their children and stuff like that, it seems like that really would connect with a lot of folks. Not to say that Well, I don't know. Goodbye Volcano High is about sad teenage dinosaurs facing existential death. So what the fuck do I know? But my prediction for Games for Impact is going to be Venba. That is, whoops. I'm building a list over here because if I forget what I wrote, I would like to be wrong. Innovation in accessibility, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. Your nominees for innovation in accessibility are Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6. And I'm going to give this one my prediction to Forza Motorsport. They have added the ability for people that are blind and hard of vision to play that game in some really impressive ways. The accessibility options in Forza Motorsport, in terms of, again, like, you know, lack of vision, hard of vision, completely blind, whatever the case may be, the options that are in it to play that game with hard of vision, super impressive. So I'm going to give it to Forza Motorsport for innovation in accessibility. Best performance. This is awarded to an individual for voice acting, motion, and or performance capture. Your nominees are Ben Starr for Final Fantasy 16, Cameron Monaghan for Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Idris Elba for Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, Melanie Libbard for Alan Wake 2, Neil Newbin for Baldur's Gate, and Yuri Lowenthal for Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And man, I've played one of these games, and I didn't even play that much of it. Oh, this is just, I feel like I'm just kind of throwing darts at a wall now. I'm going to give it to Melanie Libbard for Alan Wake 2. I believe Melanie plays Saga Anderson in Alan Wake 2. So I'm going to say Alan Wake 2 and Melanie Libbard win Best Performance. I'm going to write that down on my list here. Okay, Best Audio Design. That is for recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Dead Space Remake, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4 Remake. I don't think that game works without good audio design. I think there's a game on this list that would absolutely fail if it wasn't for the audio design, the music, and its ability to, you know, to kind of make the game what it is. So I'm going to predict that Hi-Fi Rush wins Best Audio Design. We're kind of cooking through these. We shouldn't take too much longer. Best Score and Music for outstanding music inclusive of score, original, and or licensed soundtrack. So we have people attached to this, so it's not just the game, it's also the person. Alan Wake 2 for the composer Petri Alenko. Baldur's Gate 3 for composer Borislav Slavov. Final Fantasy 16 for composer Masayoshi Soken. Hi-Fi Rush for audio director Suichi Kobori. And for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, composed by Nintendo Sound Team. There's not one person that worked on that. It's just Nintendo Sound Team. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Hi-Fi Rush won it as well. I feel like, again, like the music is the thing with Hi-Fi Rush. The way the music works with the game is what makes Hi-Fi Rush Hi-Fi Rush. So my prediction, Hi-Fi Rush wins both audio design and best score and music. Now this is for best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. There is not a game on this list that comes close to being the achievement in art direction that I believe Alan Wake 2 is, and I believe that Alan Wake 2 will also win Best Art Direction. This is Best Narrative for Outstanding Storytelling and Narrative Development in a Game. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. While I think that there are a lot of good games on this list that tell really good stories, I think the game most likely to win Best Narrative is going to be Alan Wake 2. When we think about Alan Wake 2 and we think about Alan Wake and Remedy games, really their narratives, their stories, the world, the characters, the lore, and also some of the technical stuff like their graphics and stuff like that are really what attract people to those games. And I don't think Alan Wake 2 is any slouch, and arguably Alan Wake 2 is probably the best that they have done when it comes to their narrative. Again, just from what I've heard, I've not had a chance to play it yet. So my prediction, Alan Wake 2 wins Best Narrative. Best Game Direction. A weird category. They describe it as awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. This is a tough one, dude. The nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Like the thing is that, like, to me, the two games that stand out are Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3, just in terms of how strong the vision and the direction of that game design is. It's not to say that, like, Marvel, like Spider-Man and Mario and Zelda don't, but there's just something about, you look at those games and you're like, these motherfuckers knew what they were doing when they made this game, right? Which makes it so hard for me to predict, right? Like, I almost want to do a coin flip on Alan Wake 2 or Baldur's Gate 3. I'm gonna say Alan Wake 2. I'm going to say Alan Wake 2 wins Best Game Direction. Game of the Year. Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. This is the big one. Your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Only 2 games on this list have a chance. Only 2 games, as far as I'm concerned. And that's Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3. Again, no offense to Spider-Man, Resident Evil 4, whatever. I could see Spider-Man 3 being a third, if you really want to, have a little bit more hope. But when I think about a game that has completely dominated this year in terms of the conversation about it, in terms of the development of it, in terms of the release of that game, in terms of what it means for the future of games going forward, the way games should be developed and released and produced and everything. I think about a game that has dominated the conversation this year. And the game that dominates the conversation, this year when it comes to games, I believe can ultimately be awarded Game of the Year, whether I've played it or not, regardless of what I think about it. And my prediction is that Baldur's Gate 3 wins Game of the Year. So that is it for the awards. Again, I don't give a shit about esports and all that shit. So let's run down my nominees, my predictions for the awards, and we'll see how right I am. Most anticipated game, I am predicting Hades 2. Hold on, let me load up this website here. One second. Okay. So my predictions are: most anticipated game, Hades 2. Best adaptation, The Last of Us. Best multiplayer, Street Fighter 6. Best sports/racing, F1 23. Best sim/strategy, Advance Wars. Best family, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Best fighting, Street Fighter 6. Best RPG, Baldur's Gate 3. Best action adventure, Alan Wake 2. Best action game, Hi-Fi Rush. Best VR/AR, Gran Turismo 7. Best mobile game, Honkai Star Rail. Best debut indie game, Viewfinder. Best independent game, Dave the Diver. Best Community Support, Cyberpunk 2077. Best Ongoing Game, Final Fantasy XIV. Games for Impact, Venba. Innovation and Accessibility, Forza Motorsport. Best Performance, Alan Wake 2. Best Audio Design, Hi-Fi Rush. Best Score and Music, Hi-Fi Rush. Alan Wake 2, I predict, will win Best Art Direction and Best Narrative and Best Game Direction. But ultimately, I think the one that takes the cake, Game of the Year, I predict goes to Baldur's Gate 3. And if you're wondering, when will we find out how wrong GnittWitt is? You can find out December 7th. That is when the Game Awards is happening live. And again, if you want to vote, go to thegameawards.com and you can vote to your heart's content. That show is going to be happening 4:30 on December 7th. That's going to be happening pretty much everywhere. YouTube, Twitch, wherever you go to watch shit. I mean, it's not on like traditional broadcast TV. It's not like it's been on Spike TV for or anything like that. But you can watch it on let's see here. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Steam, IGN, GameSpot, TikTok, Instagram, and Kick. Like, there's a lot of different places that you can go to watch the Game Awards, and I'll definitely be watching the Game Awards. I got nothing going on 4:30 on a Thursday. I guess I won't be able to watch Ring of Honor. No, I'm joking. But anyways, Game Awards, December 7th, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. Those are my predictions. Maybe you can have some predictions. Maybe you'll be right or wrong. We'll see. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk news and so much more. So stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Glitch Report. Breaking news. Snoop Dogg claims he's quitting smoking and asks for privacy at this time. The rapper posted a statement on Instagram that has fans baffled and concerned. Snoop Dogg is no longer smoking. He says, after much consideration and conversation with my family, I've decided to give up smoke. Please respect my privacy at this time. The earnest statement paired with an equally solemn black and white photo and signature has some wondering if the remarks were some sort of joke. Snoop Dogg could not be reached for a comment at this time. I'm getting this news out of Hollywood Reporter. Snoop Dogg no longer smoking. I don't know if Snoop Dogg smokes cigarettes. I do know that Snoop Dogg smokes the weed. So is Snoop Dogg gonna stop smoking weed? Isn't that like where he gets his power from? Like, isn't that what kind of makes Snoop Dogg the ageless, timeless wonder that he is? Like, as far as I'm concerned, Snoop Dogg, one of the greatest of all time in whatever Snoop Dogg wants to do. Snoop Dogg is the greatest. Isn't Snoop Dogg in the WWE Hall of Fame? He is, right? Snoop Dogg. Why am I doing this? WWE Hall of Fame. I'm going to look this up because I don't want to be wrong. No. Give me this. Okay. Oh my God. Superstars. Where's the Hall of Fame? Show me the Hall of Fame. Oh my God. The amount of people in WWE is fucking absurd, by the way. Their roster is crazy. No, I'm not saying that AEW isn't like, you know, maybe kind of bloated and shit too. Where is Snoop Dogg on this list? Seth Rollins, Shane McMahon. Who's Stevie Turner? Tony D'Angelo. Okay, is there no... I guess they don't have their like Hall of Fame like alumni thing on the list anymore. Oh, current? No, what do I want? Hall of Fame. That's what I want. Okay, here we go. Is Snoop Dogg on this list? Oh, Kid Rock. Of course. Who could forget Kid Rock on the Hall of Fame? I can't. Okay, there he is. Okay, yes. WWE Hall of Fame. This took way too long to figure out. I should have known this because I saw him at the WrestleMania. Anyways, WWE Hall of Famer Snoop Doggy Dogg claims he's going to stop smoking. That's the news. That's it. That's all for the podcast. Thank you so much for listening to Glitch Report. I've been GnittWitt. You can find everything that I do. Okay, no, let's actually get on with the show. Baldur's Gate 3's Xbox release date will be announced at the Game Awards. Larian says the game is on track for a December release. It's going to be a mid to late December release from the sounds of things. As you may know, Baldur's Gate 3 has been nominated for 8 prizes at the Game Awards event. I believe Alan Wake 2 also nominated for the same amount. I didn't actually count. So here's my thing. This is a bonus prediction. It's not really much of a news story because they said Larian Studio is going to announce when the game comes out December 7th. Here's my predictions. When Larian Studios, I believe they're going to save that Baldur's Gate 3 release date announcement till like the very end of the show. This is my prediction. All right, so they announce Game of the Year goes to Baldur's Gate 3. They go on stage, whatever, everyone's cheering, everyone's happy, everyone's excited. When Larian Studios wins Game of the Year for Baldur's Gate 3, they will announce the date for the Xbox version of Baldur's Gate 3. So during their acceptance speech or whatever, at the very end, they'll announce the date. My prediction is that the date will be that same night. They will say, and now on Xbox, you can play the Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3, now on Xbox Series X and S. That's my prediction, is the release date will be that very same night when they win the Game Award for Game of the Year. On top of that, my prediction is that on top of it, them winning the Game Award for Game of the Year and them announcing that it'll be out same, like right now, that night on Xbox, I also predict that Microsoft will have spent the money to get that game day one on Game Pass. That's my prediction, is that December 7th, live at the Game Awards, Larian Studios wins the Game Award for Baldur's Gate, Game of the Year for Baldur's Gate 3. They announced that, hey, you can all now play the Game of the Year on Xbox Series X and S. Oh, and by the way, it's on Game Pass. That is my prediction. That's also how Microsoft will buy their way into having the Game of the Year be attached to their consoles. This is my prediction, is that your friend and mine, Uncle Phil Spencer, will have spent the money to get Baldur's Gate 3 on Game Pass, and it will align with the day and date release after they win the Game Awards on Xbox Series X and S. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. I am officially done with predictions for the Game Awards now. They are talking up that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game. They're back to talking about it. That game is coming out in February. It was delayed to February 2nd, 2024. And so they're doing kind of this like 20-minute long, YouTube series of videos. And right now the videos have been primarily about the story of the game. So they kind of talk about how, the Suicide Squad have been dropped into Metropolis. This takes place after Batman Arkham Knight. I'm not going to spoil Batman Arkham Knight. That being said, if you really want to play this game, you should probably finish the other games if you haven't already. But basically, Brainiac has taken over and mind controlled all of the Justice League. That's hence why you have to kill the Justice League, because Batman and Superman and the Flash and Green Lantern are all bad guys being mind controlled by Brainiac. And as the Suicide Squad have been, often known to do, they've been dropped into the middle of a war zone to try to figure out what's going on and be the bad enough bad guys to stop the baddest bad guys, which are the Justice League. So in the video, I watched the video this morning. I was just sitting there drinking coffee. And they had like Samoa Joe talking about, being King Shark. They'd had Tara Strong talking about getting to voice Harley Quinn. They talked about, the characters that you're going to meet. Like they said, like, Penguin is now a gun runner for Metropolis. So he's going to be the guy you go to get better guns and shit like that in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But the thing that they have emphasized is that it is still going to be a live service game. You are still going to have seasonal updates. You'll be able to earn characters to expand the store and, to expand the story with new missions and items. That stuff is going to be free. So they are not going to be selling the characters and the story add-ons separately. That'll all be free. That being said, there will still be a paid battle pass. So if you want, there will be, it seems like, a free battle pass, but you'll also be able to buy a paid battle pass. Again, that shit could change by the time it launches, but there will be a free battle pass that you can upgrade and unlock additional items. There'll be a paid battle pass, but the main content that they add will be free. It will take place in an open world, and you will be able to play that game multiplayer if you want, or you can play as Harley Quinn or Deadshot or Captain Boomerang or King Shark. You can switch between the characters if you want as well. That game is going to be coming out again. That is February 2nd on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. That's going to be a full price game, as we already know. I wonder how much of that stuff I wonder how much of that multiplayer shit and like that live service shit is going to be I don't know, dude. Like, when I think about the Batman Arkham games, I think about them being incredible single player story based games. And that isn't to say that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League can't be a good single player story based game, but it's not a single player game. It might have a lot of story, but it is a single player game. It might have a lot of story, but it's not necessarily a single player game. You can play that game by yourself, or you can play with other people. The game, as of now, still requires an online connection to play the game in single player mode. It will still feature a battle pass, though Rocksteady claims that the stuff in the battle pass will only be cosmetic, skins and items and costumes and things like that. You will be able to play with up to 4 players online, and it will also support full cross-platform and cross-progression, which means if you have the PC version, you can play with PS5 people. If you have the Xbox version, your King Shark progression will transfer over to the PS5 version, and so on and so forth. We'll see how it goes. I'm curious. The story and the writing seems decent. Like, from what I saw of the video for the Suicide Squad Insider Episode 1, it seems okay. But honestly, I just don't know how things are going to go with this game. It seems so up in the air, even if, they're talking a big game as of right now. Embracer Group has confirmed its layoffs and has kind of given us a number for the layoffs since the end of September. Embracer Group has now confirmed that 900 employees were let go in its second quarter. The company cut 5% of its workforce in 3 months, that ended in September. So here's what we know. The company announced in June that it was implementing a restructuring plan, which would involve the closure of studios and the cancellation of projects. It has since shut down Saints Row developer Volition, Campfire Cabal. Others have also been put on sale. So Gearbox is currently up for sale. Embracer has also laid off a number of companies, a number of people at companies, including Gearbox Publishing. So Gearbox, the whole company's up for sale. but they had, and Gearbox not only publishes games, they also develop games. Off the top of my head, they develop what Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and Borderlands, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a game that was published by Gearbox, but there probably have been some. So they laid off a variety of people at companies. So Gearbox Publishing hit with layoffs. Tomb Raider developer Crystal Dynamics also hit with layoffs. Knights of the Old Republic remake studio Beamdog also hit with layoffs, and Pinball FX maker Zen Studios, to name a few. The CEO addressed the layoffs, which affected 5% of its workforce during the opening remarks of the Embracers second quarter earnings presentation on Thursday. The CEO stated, "Before we get into the business details of our second quarter, I want to start with this conference by saying a personal thank you to the 900 who left Embracer during the second quarter." Added, "As you will hear today, we are determined to transform Embracer into a leaner, stronger company. That said, it's painful to me that you need to leave the group, and we have been and are doing everything we can to preserve jobs without changing what we need to achieve. Our people are what make up the very fabric of Embracer. For me personally, it's crucial that that the program is carried out with compassion, respect, and integrity." Video Games Chronicles revealed earlier this month that Time Splitters developer Free Radical Design is at threat of being closed by owner Embracer just 2 years after it was reestablished. Job losses across the video game industry have been widespread in 2023. Companies impacted by layoffs this year include Xbox Game Studios, Epic Games, Sony Interactive Entertainment, CD Projekt, Unity, Ubisoft, Riot Games, Blizzard, Crystal Dynamics, BioWare, Striking Distance, Team 17, Frontier Development, Telltale Games, Digital Extremes, Amazon, and Digital Bros. Digital Bros, who owns 505 Games, has announced plans to cut 30% of its workforce, which is fucking crazy. 505 Games are part of the people that brought you Control, and I've also brought you Payday 3. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just every week I have to sit here and look at these numbers and I look at these numbers, but I think about the people impacted, right? Unity has said it will likely lay off some staff in the next few months. Now, again, like I want to say this about Unity. Unity wasn't doing great before they announced their controversial plan to charge developers money for people to install their game. They weren't doing so great. In fact, you could argue that their desperate attempt to get some money going is what led to their bullshit idea. But it seems like structural changes are also expected to result in the discontinuation of certain products. As spotted by The Verge, the company made reference to potential layoffs in its earnings report for Q3 2023. In the section where it normally provide guidance for shareholders on what's expected, what it expects to do in the next quarter and beyond, Unity instead explained it wasn't providing guidance because it was planning structural changes. Several weeks ago, we started a comprehensive assessment of our product portfolio to focus on those products that are most valuable to our customers, it said. We are also evaluating the right cost structure that aligns with the more focused portfolio. We are acting quickly and expect to make final decisions over the next few weeks. We expect to start implementing the plan within this quarter and expect to complete all interventions before the end of first quarter 2024. This will likely include discontinuing certain products offerings, reducing our workforce, and reducing our office footprint. The exact timing of these interventions is difficult to estimate. We therefore are not providing guidance for fourth quarter or full year or the full year of 2023. We will provide guidance for 2024 with our fourth quarter and full year 2023 results. At that time, we will share more details on our operational interventions, which are expected to gradually improve our result. Now, this report also opened with an introduction to Unity's interim CEO and president, James Whitehurst, who noted the need to change the company structure. James said, we have a significant opportunity to accelerate revenue growth, improve profitability metrics, and increase free cash flow generation going forward. However, we currently are doing too much. We are not achieving the synergies that exist across our portfolio. We are not executing to our full potential. Unity announced last month that John Riccitiello had stepped down from CEO, chairman, and board member effective immediately. His departure came weeks after the company sparked a backlash from the development community by announcing controversial monetization plans for its popular game development engine, which it partially walked back following the outcry. I mean, man, like, people just get laid off left, right, and center, man. Like, the problem with capitalism is that the leaders of these big companies may make bad bets. They may think the industry is going in one direction, that they can get this cash flow going, that this idea, that this project will make money in the long term. They'll make these bad bets, and then it's the people that are forced to execute on those bad bets that get the short end of the stick, that get laid off, right? Like, John Riccitiello will be fine, right? You know, the people, the higher ups that are, you know, voluntarily leaving Embracer Group or Unity or whoever, they will be fine. They have golden parachutes. But the people at, lower on the totem pole, lower on the pyramid, they're going to get fucked. They're going to get fucked. And then where are they going to go? Right? Where do they go? There's not a lot of opportunities in this industry right now for people. And if you are working, you might be getting worked to death. Like our final news story, Modern Warfare 3 was reportedly developed in just 16 months. Now, where do I even begin? I'm like rubbing my eyes because just the thought of this hurts my brain. But Call of Duty comes out every year. But just because Call of Duty comes out every year doesn't mean that that game was developed in 12 months, 16 months. I don't know what happened. There were a lot of companies, developers working on Call of Duty at any given time. So there were a lot of companies between Sledgehammer, Raven, Infinity Ward, and Treyarch that were working on Call of Duty games at any given time, which meant that if Treyarch put out a game 1 year, they were probably going to have another 2 to 3 years to make their next game, because after Treyarch put out their game, then Infinity Ward would put out their game. After Infinity Ward put out their game, Sledgehammer Games would put out their game. Right? And there might be, other developers, Toys for Bob or Raven or whoever, helping, support those big three studios as they put out their games. So typically, Call of Duty was in this unique scenario where they could be relatively, feature rich, fully developed, yearly games, because they had so many studios working on those games. So that's typically what happened, right? In the past, it would be maybe 24 months, but we've seen in some cases these games be developed over 3 years, but would still come out at a yearly rate. Like, Activision had somehow fucking cracked the key on having, dynamic, fully realized, fully developed, exciting, give or take, yearly games. Something that, EA Sports seems to never be able to figure out. But that's because they want to have, the EA, Burnaby, Vancouver team work on multiple sports games at a time, instead of saying, okay, you guys are just going to do NHL. That's all you're doing. Everybody is going to do NHL. And then this other team, everybody is going to do, football club. Everybody over here is going to do, Madden, whatever. Right. But instead they've kind of spread those studios, studios a little bit thin. The only thing that seems to get fully developed and properly supported is UFC, and UFC doesn't even come out every year. Also, for the record, I feel like UFC should have been nominated for best fighting game or best multiplayer, because that game is fucking dope. Anyways, Modern Warfare 3 was reportedly developed in just 16 months. Some staff had to work nights and weekends to finish the game, it's claimed. So this is coming out of Bloomberg, but was being kind of picked up by Video Games Chronicles. As always, shout out to Video Games Chronicles. Over a dozen current and former Call of Duty developers told Bloomberg that the project initially started as an expansion to last year's Modern Warfare 2, which would have taken place in Mexico and have been achievable in that time frame. However, it's claimed that Activision executives later rebooted the project, telling developers at Sledgehammer Games that it would instead be a full-blown sequel featuring the globe-trotting adventures that the franchise had become known for. Some staff, who reportedly had to work nights and weekends to finish the project, said they felt let down because they'd been promised that this type of crunch wouldn't happen again after the studio's previous game, Call of Duty Vanguard, was made under similarly constrained development cycle. So this is not the first time, but it is relatively new compared to how Call of Duty has been developed in the past. Developers also expressed frustration at having to seek content approval from original Call of Duty developer and Modern Warfare sub-series creator Infinity Ward, a process which had been reportedly inefficient and sometimes resulted in insignificant and unwanted changes having to be made. An Activision spokesperson denied that the project was originally planned as an expansion, claiming it was conceived as a, quote, premium game from the outset. Sledgehammer studio head Aaron Hallen told Bloomberg some developers may have believed that the game was an expansion because it is, quote, a new type of direct sequel to Modern Warfare that, for the first time, allows players to carry forward many weapon and cosmetic items from one game to the next. In a publicly released statement, Hallen added, "We're proud to be the team to lead the way on Modern Warfare 3. We have worked hard to deliver on this vision, which has been years in the making. Anything said to the contrary is simply not true. This is our game, and we cannot wait to play it online with all of you." Modern Warfare 3's campaign has been poorly received by critics who received access to the game ahead of its release date. Sold as a pre-order bonus and given as much thought, Call of Duty 3's single-player offerings is a short, shallow waste of time that feels less like a video game and more like a contractual obligation. That is according to Video Games Chronicles' review of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. Now, here's what I'm going to say. So you have to... I get where Aaron Hallen's, studio head of Sledgehammer is coming from, right? You want to support, you want to back up your team. You want to champion your team and say, rah, rah, we are bad motherfuckers. We make badass games. The problem is the studio and Activision have gone and, tried to back up their team in a really bad way. Let me explain. So... if this was a game years in the making, they spent a really long time making a really bad game. If this game was meant to be an and that's assuming, of course, that they spent a long time making a game that was never meant to be an expansion, an add-on to Modern Warfare 2. But let's say Modern Warfare 3 was originally intended to be an expansion that was then forced to be blown up into a full game. The state of that game might be a little more understanding. The frustrations around it might be a little more forgiving if that was the case. And I truly believe, based on everything I've seen from Modern Warfare 3, in comparison to Modern Warfare 2, and in comparison to other Call of Duty games. Like, I think Vanguard was a bad game, but I also don't like World War II first-person shooters. I think World War II guns, old guns are boring. I want new, modern guns or near future or futuristic guns to shoot. That's just me personally. World War II guns are fucking boring. The only exception I'm willing to make when it comes to old guns being fun to shoot is Red Dead Redemption 2. But my point is, I probably wasn't going to like Vanguard anyways, but it seems like because it was a World War II game, but it also seems like it was a rushed job the same way that Modern Warfare 3 was. So to say this was the game we always wanted to make, dog, you really wanted to make this bad of a game, this half-assed of a game? Because if you just said, yeah, you know what, we were under the gun, we did the best we can do, I think everyone would be a little more forgiving of Modern Warfare 3, just being honest. Just being honest. I don't know what to say. Like, to me, I feel like I should just go pick up a copy of Modern Warfare 2 at this point and just skip 3 altogether. Because I did skip 2 originally. Because I thought 3 would be a better game. But it's no. It seems like 3 is a shit show for the most part. It seems like the multiplayer is okay. You know, you still have DMZ mode. You still have zombie mode. You still have Warzone, which is free to play. But usually what gets me in the door with Call of Duty is the good campaigns. Like, I think Call of Duty campaigns are some of the best first-person shooter campaigns you can play, right? Not counting stuff that tries to be open world or incorporate RPG elements like Starfield or whatever. Or Cyberpunk. But like, if you want a short, fast, loud, badass story campaign, as far as I'm concerned, in the past, it doesn't get any better than Call of Duty. For example, I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, the reboot of Modern Warfare, amazing campaign. I think Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, amazing game. I think Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, an amazing campaign. I think Black Ops 1 and 2, fantastic campaigns. Obviously, original Modern Warfare, which was Call of Duty 4, original Modern Warfare 2, also great campaigns. But at some point, like, it seems like every now and then, they just get a little greedy, they get a little lazy, and by they I mean Activision executives get a little greedy, get a little lazy, and say, we can just fart out the same thing, but in a shorter period of time, and it won't matter. And I think it does matter, because I think now Activision is going to have to, listen to the big boss, which is Xbox, which is Microsoft, right? And I'm not going to sit here and blame Microsoft and Xbox for the state of Modern Warfare 3. If you are doing that, you have shit for brains. Like, if you are seriously being like, fucking Phil Spencer can't put out a good Starfield, can't put out a good whatever, the Xbox is shit, and now look at how shit, Call of Duty is. Like, Xbox had basically nothing to do with the development of Modern Warfare 3. Nothing to do with it. Nobody involved at Xbox had anything to do with the development of Modern Warfare 3. So if you're seriously going to sit there and say that it's Xbox and Microsoft's fault, you are a special type of stupid. That being said, the viewers and listeners of Glitch Report are some of the smartest people on planet Earth, as far as I'm concerned. Real bright future for all of you. So thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. But my point is, Xbox cannot let another game like this happen again. Right? If that means throwing a bunch of people at the problem to make sure that the next game, rumors are going around that Black Ops is the next Call of Duty game. Next year's game is supposedly a Black Ops game. It cannot ship like this. It cannot ship with a half-assed story. It cannot ship with a mediocre multiplayer. It cannot ship like Modern Warfare 3 did. Because next year, people are more likely, even if it's not true, people are going to be more likely to say that, Xbox shipped a bad Call of Duty. Microsoft put out a bad Call of Duty. And I don't think they can afford that, considering that Modern Warfare 3 has kind of come out and shit the bed. I bet it'll sell just fine. I bet it'll be super popular, yada, yada, yada. I'm just saying that, it can't happen again. It can't happen again. Simple as that. All right, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the games that I've been playing. I have finished Trepang 2. I've been playing a little bit more my time at Sandrock, and we'll tell you all about it when we come back. Stick around. Welcome back to the podcast. We have more breaking news, not related to Snoop Dogg this time. It has been announced that Baldur's Gate 3 is getting a physical deluxe edition on Xbox Series X, PS5, and PC. That is supposed to be coming out next year. It is going to be $80 US. This is not cheap. This is not a cheap edition of Baldur's Gate 3. This is a physical deluxe edition out next year, $80 US. On PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Let's break down what you get, and then we'll talk about the games I've been playing. The deluxe edition will include a physical copy of the game on Xbox Series X and on Xbox Series X. The physical copy on Xbox Series X is 3 discs. It is 3 goddamn discs. The PS5 will have 2 discs, and the PC will have 1 disc containing a CD key and an installer. The deluxe edition will also feature a world map, a physical world map for you to look at, touch it, and look at. It will also feature an original soundtrack, which is 3 discs. It'll feature a Mind Flayer poster. The deluxe edition box has been designed to match previous games' big box PC edition, so it's a big ass box that this deluxe edition comes in. It'll also come with 32 stickers and 2 patches. It'll also include a bunch of digital items as well. It'll include the Divinity item pack, the Bard song pack, the exclusive dice skin, paintings from Rivellon, the Adventures pouch, a digital version of the soundtrack, a digital edition of the art book, and digital Dungeons & Dragons character sheets. At the moment, the physical edition can be pre-ordered directly from Larian's website. Yeah, okay, that's it. All right, let's move on to games that I have been playing. So I bought and played through Trepang 2. Now, Trepang 2 is a first-person shooter. I'm just kind of loading it up here on Steam for just a moment. Trepang 2. Trepang 2 is a first-person shooter. It is, I believe, about $40. It's about $40. I got it on sale for about $25, but it's about a $40 first-person shooter. So, you know, not a big, you know, first-person shooter the way that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is or something like that, right? But it is a cheaper, smaller, you know, developed first-person shooter. And Trepang 2... First of all, there's no Trepang 1. Trepang 1 was like a demo, test game that never came out. And they decided, fuck it, we're just going to make a new game and call it Trepang 2. So there's no Trepang 1 in case you were interested. But Trepang 2 is a first-person shooter that, if I were to compare it to other games, really its inspirations are the original Fear games, Black, and Killzone 2 and 3. Maybe it's not so much Killzone 1, but Killzone 2 and 3. And when you tell your boy GnittWitt that on paper there's a new video game out that is a mix of Fear, Black, and Killzone, I'm going to tell you, fuck yeah, let's play this goddamn video game. I bet it's amazing. And it turns out that Trepang 2 is an amazing video game. I had an absolute blast playing Trepang 2. It is maybe a little on the shorter end of things. There is a lot of content, additional content. I did not play through all of that additional content, but it took me about 11 hours to get through Trepang 2. And it is fucking awesome. It is so much goddamn fun. Maybe some of the most fun I've had with a first-person shooter this year, to be perfectly honest. Actually, I would say almost certainly. There's some other shooters that I want to get around to playing this year, but for now, Trepang 2, probably the best first-person shooter I have played this entire year. And I'll tell you what makes it special. So, with the Fear games, if you never played them, they're incredible horror-based first-person shooters that really do an excellent job of mixing kind of sci-fi modern military first-person shooting with traditional horror game stuff. It's a really unbelievable blend of horror and military first-person shooting. And what makes the Fear game special is that they were some of the first first-person shooter games to incorporate, slow motion, right? So you move at the world slows down, but you're moving faster than the enemies, so you can kind of run up and really, blast them in the face or dodge the bullets or whatever, and you're doing it all in this first-person context. Trepang 2 has that, so you have the option of, at any time you can, slow down time, run up to somebody with a shotgun or something like that in slow motion. Trepang 2 also features invisibility, so you can kind of enter this predator mode where you have invisibility for a short period of time. Now that all those special abilities, the slow-mo and the cloaking ability, are all on this meter, and that meter gets refilled as you kill enemies. So the idea is that the faster you're killing these enemies, the faster you're gunning people down, the more you're going to be able to get that meter back. So it's almost like this resource management of like, oh, I might be in this really tough spot where I got to use slow-mo to kill like 5 guys with a shotgun or whatever the case may be. But once I do that, I'll get a lot more of that resource, that meter back. Same thing with health. The enemies drop health, so the faster you're killing the enemies, the more you're going to be getting that ammo, getting that health, getting that resources. And if you play the game on a higher difficulty, it ends up being this very kind of like ebb and flow of like, okay, I got to shoot this guy, then I got to take this gun, then I got to use this gun, then I got to cloak for a moment so that I can pick up the rest of the items in the environment, then I got to uncloak, switch to slow-mo, shoot this guy, whatever, right? And there's a couple other abilities. You get a slide. So there are some enemies that use like full on like body shields, like the big, like, riot shields, and you can't shoot through the riot shields. But if you do your slide, you can slide under them, kick them up above your head, and then they're going to basically be flying through the air. They'll eventually fall. They'll slowly get back up, and then you can kind of shoot them in their weak spot where they're not holding the shield to kill them. But what if instead you run at a guy with a shotgun that has a riot shield, you slide to pop them into the air, you enter slow-mo, you turn around, shoot them with that shotgun, and blast them through the room, and they're dead before they even hit the ground again. Like, that's the type of shit that you can get into with Trepang 2, and it is this beautiful mix. If I could describe it as something, it's like John Woo meets John Wick. Like, you are a killing machine, blasting fools at a very rapid rate, similar to something like John Wick, for example. But your ability to slow things down, to dive through the air. You also have a kick ability, so you can basically drop kick a motherfucker, just run, jump, kick, and you're like just curb stomping fools in midair. You're drop kicking fools. So that ability to kind of mix and match the slide ability, which pops guys in the air, with the kick. I should also mention with the kick, it's so smart. You get a little bit of a boost when you kick them. So if you kick a guy, you actually get a little bit of, you get propelled a little bit off of him. You almost like ricochet off of him with the kick. So if you time it right, you could jump in the air, kick a guy, slow motion, turn around, kick another guy before landing on the ground. And it's just so much fucking fun. It is just, it's just disgusting how much fun it is. And that is all couched in some of the most hyper violent and gory first person shooting that I have played all year. Like, by the time you're done an encounter, your gun is just covered in blood. There's like guys, like body parts, flying around the room. It's just, it's so stupid. It's smart that they made a game so stupid, because I just have this stupid grin on my face as I'm, blowing a guy. Like, you can get upgrades for guns. Like, you can basically have a shotgun that deals fire damage. If you've seen John Wick 4, they talk about Dragon's Breath. I think it's called Dragon's Breath. And basically it's incendiary shotgun rounds, which I guess are real things. I don't know. But you get these incendiary rounds for your shotgun. So you're basically shooting this dude who's now on fire. You're jumping off of his flaming corpse as you turn around and shoot another guy and set him on fire. The other cool thing about Trepang 2 is there's dual wielding. And it's not just dual wielding single hand guns. Like, you don't just get the ability to dual wield pistols, you can dual wield shotguns, and you're basically like Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator style, like throwing the gun in the air and cocking the shotgun with one hand so that you're reloading with basically one hand because you're dual wielding two big ass shotguns. And it's just rude. Like, when you go into a room and you're just, shotgunning one guy, gunning another, it's fucking wild, dude. Like, and you know what's funny is, like, a lot of the stuff that I'm describing has been in games before, like dual wielding big assault rifles and shotguns. That's something that's in the recent Wolfenstein games, the New Order, the New Colossus, the Old Blood. Like, that shit is in there. Black has its really visceral destruction based, combat where you're blowing apart the scenery. Like, a guy's behind cover, you're blowing up that cover to get to him. The room is a complete disaster. Like, there's a couple of, there's a couple different levels. One of those levels takes place in like this like fancy mansion, like some Lara Croft-esque looking mansion. And because you're using shotgun incendiary rounds, like, these massive bookcases are just exploding with paper all over the place. And like, these tables are getting destroyed. These chairs are getting thrown around the room. Like, there's a lot of physics and stuff involved in the environment. And by the time you're like done an encounter, you're like, whew, like, that shit is, this place is seeing better days for sure. Now, the story is nonsense. I'm sorry for my single player story fans. The story is, you are a super soldier that is broken out of prison. And these people tell you that the prison that you just broken out of is run by this evil corporation. You got to go kill this evil corporation. And there's like some twists and turns along the way, but honestly, the story is pretty forgetful in the grand scheme of things. But it was enough to string me along from level to level. Like, oh, now we got to go fight these cultists in this fancy mansion. And now we got to go to this office building. And now you're in this hospital. And now there's monsters that you have to fight. Most of the enemies that you fight in this game are other, kind of military shooter dudes that are working for the evil corporation that had you in your secret prison to begin with. The levels are very linear, so it's not like there's a lot to explore. You're kind of running down corridors and hallways. Sometimes you'll enter like a big room, and that room will become a combat encounter, and you can't leave until you've killed everybody in the environment. And then, like, your military bros will bust through the door and help you out, or, a helicopter will blow up a wall that you walk through after you've killed everybody. But it looks pretty good. I think some of the fire, especially like when your incendiary rounds are, setting the environment on fire, you're setting a dude on fire, or, there's lighting from the laser, or, whatever. Like, it's a decent, it's not amazing looking, but I think it looks pretty good. And I think it's effective at what it's trying to do at the scope and scale it's trying to do. You can customize your guns. You can put, silencers on your pistols. You can make your pistols burst fire or auto fire. You can have your shotguns be incendiary. You can do dual wielding for a lot of the different guns. You can also customize the look of your character, but your character is first person and you never see what your character looks like. So that was a little weird. There is a combat simulator, so you can basically like enter these rooms, and if you just want to test out your guns and test out your abilities and try to improve your combat encounter flow, for lack of a better word, you can enter like these various combat simulator rooms, and they're basically rooms where you just fight waves of guys. until you decide to go do the next mission. You always come back to like this mission hub. So once you finish kind of the first level, you're in this mission hub where you can customize your guns, your character. You can, there's like a firing range where you can test out your guns. You can do the combat simulator. There's also side missions in the game. So I pretty much did every side mission and I completed every story mission. But the side missions are very much like, hey, there's going to be 4 waves of guys coming through. And while those waves of guys are coming, you want to defuse the bombs in this area, or you want to hack these computer terminals and then stand by near the computer terminal as these guys try to stop you. And then in the environment, you might find a couple of different secrets like, oh, now I found a silencer for my pistols, or I found a incendiary rounds for the shotguns, or now my shotgun can have a silencer on it, or all this stuff. And you'll find a couple of different weapon parts and stuff like that in some of these levels, in both the side missions that are very much like just combat rooms and then you leave and then you're done. And then those story missions that are a little more linear, but you're kind of walking from A to B. There's some boss battles in the game too. The boss battles they're okay. There's one that's kind of weird. It takes a while for you to figure out what it is that you're actually trying to do, but I didn't necessarily find it frustrating. I just found it kind of weird. It just took a little bit to, explain and kind of show itself as what its, kind of boss encounter was all about. But Trepang 2 in general, it's like 40 bucks. It's on PC and PlayStation and Xbox, and I had a fucking great time with Trepang 2. I just by the time I was done with it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna uninstall it and maybe I'll move on to something else. But I have had this urge to kind of go back and just play a little bit more of the not the multiplayer, the combat simulators, maybe play the story on a harder difficulty, because there's a lot of unlocks. And the unlocks come in the form of cheats. And so those cheats can be like, oh, now the enemies have pumpkins for heads, or now you have unlimited stamina, so you can slide and jump and kick as much as you want, or, now you have infinite bullets or infinite health. And you get those cheats by playing through the story missions and the rest of the missions in the game on harder difficulty. So they do give you just enough of a reason to go back, even if the main game is a little on the shorter side of things. But I had a great time. I got it on sale, $25. I think that is $25 well spent, especially for just how goddamn fun what you get is. So Trepang 2, definitely going to make it onto my game of the year list. I'm still working on my game of the year list. I tried to play Cocoon last night. I played it for a little bit. I'm just not feeling Cocoon. I know that it's supposed to be a really beautiful, cool, wordless, one button sort of puzzle adventure game, but I wasn't really feeling it. And I still keep chipping away at my time at Sandrock. I really enjoy my time at Sandrock, don't get me wrong, but I have played a lot of it leading up to the full release of the game. So I'm just trying to chip away at the game and find out what's the new stuff they've added, what's the stuff I've been missing out on, how close am I to finishing the story in that game. Of course, once you're in the story in my time at Sandrock, you can continue to mine and farm and gather resources and hunt animals and chop down trees and do all of that stuff. And it is a great game. It is a ton of fun, but I have played a lot of it since the release, which makes me wonder, I'll probably put it on my game of the year list, but I just don't know how high I'll have it on that list. It makes me think I need to play some more of it. But honestly, other than playing some more of my time at Sandrock, I'm not too sure what is next for ya boy GnittWitt in terms of games to play. I mean, I know that I haven't played Alan Wake 2, but I haven't finished Control, so I need to do that. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, which, hey, maybe it'll come to Game Pass and I won't have to buy it. I don't have a PS5, so there's no way for me to play Spider-Man 2 or Final Fantasy 16. I could play Zelda Tears of the Kingdom or Mario Wonder, though I never finished Breath of the Wild, which makes me wonder if I should go back and play Breath of the Wild first before I play Tears of the Kingdom. Or maybe I should just skip Zelda and give Mario Wonder a try. So I'm not too sure what is next for me in terms of games I should be playing and all of that stuff. But That is for me to kind of figure out. And you can find everything that I do over at my Linktree, linktree.com/GnittWitt, GnittWitt, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. Hey, you know, the video podcast, the numbers are good for the video podcast. The YouTube video numbers are incredible. When they're not, like when they're the shorter form, kind of, you know, short form topic videos. So the YouTube stuff does pretty well for me. So check that stuff out if you haven't had a chance to do so. I'll be putting out some more videos soon. And we'll talk to you all next week, episode 70 of Glitch Report in the bag. Thank you so much for listening, hanging out, stopping by, saying hi, and we will see you all next week. Take it easy.